The chant camp it's a great opportunity for young people, whether they're from our parish or outside of our parish, to really enter more deeply into the liturgy and the history of the church. The more that you know about the Mass and the chant, the more deeply you can enter into it spiritually yourself. And I think we live in an increasingly secularized world, right? And I think a lot of people, especially young people, are just dying to have spirituality in their lives, something that's truly set apart. And it doesn't get much more set apart from the world than Gregorian chant. So here's a chance for these kids to really enter into history and philosophy and music all at the same time together and have a good time doing it.
The church throughout history has said, in times of good, in times when we are not being persecuted, we have to sing. We must sing. People sing naturally as an expression of what's in the heart, especially, when somebody's really happy and they whistle a tune. When you're thinking about wonderful times in your late teens and your 20s, there's a sense of joy and gladness. Even those who may not have a sense of pitch will hear a song and connect to it. The Mass is not just an appeal to our nature and our spiritual nature as humans. It appeals to every bit of what we are. Our Lord reaches out to us in this world through our senses, through our not just through our intellect, but through our senses. But even the senses can be given an intellectual structure. We've seen both in English and Latin such tremendous resurgence of chant in the liturgy. It's just been really great.
There's the old quote it's attributed to St. Augustine. I'm not sure that's who actually said it, but it's, he who sings well prays twice, right? The well in there is very important. He who sings well prays twice. And in order to sing well and pray well, we need to understand more than just how to use our voice. And so we do have to look at history. Where did this come from? And it started before Christ's time with the Jewish chanting of the Psalms, and then the church's chant developed through the years, and then it developed into polyphony, and that developed into the kind of the classical periods and Baroque, all the way up through the modern periods. And so we try to take a look at all of that, but we also immerse the students in more than just singing too. We get their arms moving. I teach them to conduct the chant so that they know how that works, because if you can conduct it, you can sing it better, and you also understand what you're doing. But then we also have to take a look at the words that we're singing, right? It's important to understand what we're praying. So we learn a little bit of the history of the text. They learn the translations if we're singing a chant in Latin. And then they can take all of that and combine it with also the vocal skills that we're providing them. How do you stand when you're singing? Or how do you breathe well to produce good tone? How do you pronounce the vowels? And of course, Dr. Skorpan was here to do that class with the kids the other day, and they really learned how to make a good sound. So they take the history, they take the philosophy, the understanding of why music matters in the liturgy and why sacred music needs to be sacred and set apart. Then they learn how to sing, they put it all together, and they make beautiful music at Mass.
I've always loved the Latin Mass. I always found it very beautiful, so I wanted to learn to sing along with it, because I'm a big singer. When I was 4, I used to make up songs by myself, so I've always found it very beautiful, and I like to sing high and just let my voice boom without screaming. It's a lot of fun, because unless you're like doing a sport or something, you just can't let that stuff out. So you can let out and singing, and it's just fun, and it's pretty much what sparked me.
It's obviously so great to have the traditions of the church being preserved, and so important to have them and to learn them so we can continue them in the future. We learned a lot about the history of chant and how it was done in ancient times and why we still have it, and the philosophy and some composers and how to read it. And we actually learned some choronomy, which is actually composing it with your hands and stuff.
The whole thrust of this is with the children in particular, their minds are still so adaptable, and so anything that we give to them, they take it, and it's part of them for the rest of their life. And so whether it's our own parishioners or it's others, the sacred music that they are getting from this chant camp is enabling them to reach all the way back to the beginning of the church, to centuries and centuries ago, and to experience the same chant, which has helped conform so many other saints and other Catholics throughout the centuries, and to help us to get away from the strictly profane and the secular music to the music which elevates our minds and our intellects and takes us to God. And so that's not something which is just for us, it's for all the church. And so anytime anybody else wants to take a part in that, it's a wonderful thing. So we're happy to share it. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it'd be the favorite week of a kid's summer to be spending it all week long in church learning chant, but it is something that they always seem to respond to in a positive way. They always seem to have a good time, and it's rewarding, I guess, because you know that what you're offering to them is something that they if they like it that much, obviously it's something which is touching their heart, their soul, which means that they need it. So that's a great thing to be able to offer it to them.
Expand, connect with other musicians. Take your Gregorian chant schola and go out and sing for other people. Connect. That is what we do. We do not hide under a bushel. We extend ourselves out and we make the faith accessible. And we show people that Latin Mass is not some weird sort of ancient high form that is unattainable. It is something for anybody who is interested in both the history as well as this form of liturgy.
When we're raising our voices up, not just ourselves, but together with our fellow Catholics, we're praying in an even more intimate and special way. And it gives us the opportunity to bring people to the faith through beauty, right? Because not only are we praying, but now we're also exposing people to beauty. And beauty is one of the greatest ways that people can connect with their faith.